My name is Jamile Thomas, and I'm just a personal trainer and a intern at the MB Lifestyle Docs. I'm just a student there, just learning from them, learning about the benefits of whole food plant-based diet, a lot of lifestyle medicine practices that they give us or they teach us. So yeah, I'm just learning from them right now. I don't really have a full title.
What year did you go vegan?
I went vegan in 2017.
Cool. And why did you do that?
I had a friend that pretty much, he coached me into it. But when I got really sick eating, meat and like some pizza or it's just some terrible things. I got sick probably twice. And that kind of made me look at, what we're putting into our bodies and like what we're doing as far as, what are we actually ingesting. So my friend Lloyd, he really was just like, it's all that street meat you're eating, it's all that, crap you're eating. And, this is me just in the middle of just throwing up. And I'm just like, oh no, you're right. It sounded amazing. Like it was like food poisoning that I had. And it was just like the message I needed at the right time. So,
So you got food poisoning.
yeah.
Where were you when this was happening?
So I actually got food poisoning, I want to say 3 times in the span of maybe like 4 months. And like each time kind of made me look more into like what I was eating.
Weren't you in the military too?
I was. So the first time that I got, real terrible food poisoning, I was over in Bahrain. I was deployed there. And that was me just looking at like, oh, I just think it was just the food preparation there, terrible. I was like, okay, whatever. That's no big deal. I came back into the States and then I got food poisoning again. And then I was just like, okay, maybe there's something else to it. And then maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I got sick again, and I was just like, all right, something isn't right.
Were you eating the same thing each time?
No, I think the first time I had, it was some like ramen, some like beef ramen or something like that. The second time, it was like chicken tenders from the gas station on on base, and then third time was some pizza from like Papa John's or something, or Pizza Hut, something like that.
And what branch were you in?
I was in the Navy.
So you get sick 3 times. Your friend's like, it's this street food. That was all it took?
It was that, he pretty much saying that, a lot of the stuff that we're eating is just causing a lot of the, issues that we have. But he was pretty much just like beating me down when I was already down. But then I started doing my own research started looking into what is causing a lot of the illnesses and cause a lot of us to, be sick. And my grandfather passed away of cancer. So I started looking into, is there a correlation between, the food that we're eating and what exactly causes illnesses? And at that point, I decided that I didn't want to be sick anymore. I wanted to live a life that kind of gave me the best way to succeed in a way. So I didn't want to become, a victim to, the cancers, the chronic illnesses, and anything and everything that can cause us to be sick. And from when I was looking up, okay, what are the downsides of, just becoming, vegan or just taking away a lot of the meat and the dairy, I couldn't find any negatives. So at that point, I was like, well, I guess I'll try it out for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks went into, I can keep this up for a month. And then a month turned into, 3 more months. So, and then I haven't looked back since.
You straight up gave up dairy and all that?
Yeah, everything. I really just had that terrible taste for it. And I think that was like the best thing for me at the time. It was like I needed that illness to happen or just that terrible situation to happen just so I can go ahead and like make that big leap forward in such like a, clean cut way.
How did you go vegan in the Navy?
It had its challenges. Luckily, I wasn't deployed when I was when I was transitioning into veganism. You know, I was at my apartment. You know, I was able to prepare my own food. I was able to go through those trials of like, you know, first going vegan, where you just think like everything has to revolve around tofu, and you know, you just figure out like, okay, there's only but so much I can do with tofu. What else is it? So then I started, you know, fixing, you know, more complicated meals, and started looking up recipes, and I was able to figure out or get this creativity for, you know, just how to, you know, become a better vegan while I was at home. So, but the challenges came when it come time to, you know, go to deploy, and it was time to, you know, make that transition to, you know, a deployed state. I say like that first flight over to Bahrain. It was like a 20-hour flight, and I never forget how, you know, I just pretty much had to, you know, just fast that whole 20 hours because, you know, they didn't have anything for vegans, and I was like the only vegan like on the flight. They didn't have anything for me to eat. Like it was, they served maybe like 3 meals, and I was just really couldn't eat anything. So
Nothing at all. But that's not a long time to fast, right? I mean, it'll be a little harder for you because you're a big guy, right?
yeah, I'd say it's not. It was just the flight over there. It was probably a little bit longer than 20 hours. But you know, getting over there and then figuring out, okay, where we're going to stay, like our living situations, you know, it looked more into like 36, you know, almost 40 hours. I was just like waiting until I could find something to eat. So
Well, I'm fascinated with fasting. Do you do any of that now?
at least once a week or once every other week, I'll do a complete fast, getting a lot of water. But I would do maybe a 24-hour fast and then go into like transition into like, you know, doing things like smoothies, salads, and then, you know, I would bring in like solid food. So that's how I would break my fast. But I would nothing but water for, you know, 20 to 24 hours.
All this sounds like you were doing this for health reasons. Is there any ethical reason for you to be?
I didn't go vegan for the animals at all. Like that wasn't something that was on my mind when I even thought about going vegan. I never made that, you know, correlation. As I've, you know, as the years progressed, I did realize that, yeah, the animal aspect of it is just very much important. It kind of hit home a little bit, you know, just seeing like all the documentaries and just seeing like what the animals go through. And I really didn't, I felt it. I felt just very much as saddened, you know, that we do have to go through that, you know, animal destruction process, people just killing animals. And that side of it kind of spoke more to me. But I was more on the just health side of just being vegan. But the ethical side of it definitely came along with it.
Cool. Because people wonder sometimes if you go for health reasons, they're afraid for people to say, "Oh, I'm vegan," because if they just do it for health reasons, it's real easy to just start eating animals again.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever eat animals again?
Nah, I can't. I can't see myself doing that. I can't see myself doing that for just multiple reasons. You know, just not wanting to put my body through that again, as far as, you know, all the health risks that comes from just, you know, eating animals, and also you know, the effect that it has on not just the animals itself, but the environment too. Like that side of it, it's just, there's all these reasons not to go back into, you know, eating, you know, animals and, you know, consuming animals. So no, I don't think I can go back.
Have you been sick at all since you've been vegan?
I haven't really been sick like that. No, like not at all. I'd say you get random things that do happen, maybe like a cold or something like that. But it's definitely maybe once every 2 or 3 years that, you know, I'll get something that, you know, will take me out of commission.
Takes you out of commission.
I would say it would take me it would just make me not feel like, I don't feel 100% today.
Oh, okay.
Really hard to identify because it's just like, no, I don't really get any of that anymore.
Aside of that, was there any physiological, mental, or emotional changes that occurred after taking on this lifestyle?
The biggest thing that stood out to me was this just level of aggression that I had kind of just went away. Like I could never really fully identify what that was. But once I stopped eating like meat, it just kind of went away. As a power lifter, you kind of like tap into this level of like just being, I'd say I want to say your inner rage in a way. But once I went vegan, it kind of wasn't there anymore. There wasn't this want to even have that around. Like aggression levels, that slight level of like irritation that, I didn't have any of that. As calm and cool as, I usually am, even having that just kind of just went away once I went vegan.
You're into lifting and stuff. Did any of that change?
No, like nothing really changed for me going vegan. I was still very strong. I was still very fast. I was still very much just, a very good, athlete. I would say the only thing that really changed for me was, me lowering, let's say, body fat, or me losing weight that was just, extra fat, because I wasn't consuming a lot of, the saturated fats and like just the extra fat that comes along with, animal products. So I never really had any terrible decline with, I would say, like my numbers that I were putting up, benching and squatting and just powerlifting. So no, I never really had any issues.
Did you lose any weight?
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that has changed, the only thing that changed when I was going vegan was, I'd say like my weight. My weight just went down. I'd say without doing any extra cardio, without doing any extra fasting or anything like that, only thing I did was just change what I was eating. I was still eating the same amount. I was never really measuring like, protein and fats and carbs, and I was never really measuring that, but I was still eating, enough food for me. And the only thing that happened was I would lose just weight. I lost maybe 10, 15 pounds in that first year, and then I kept it off. And just the more I do, the more I work, I can lose weight a lot easier than if I was, consuming, animal products.
Now, do you think it was beneficial to lose that weight?
I believe so. Yeah, it was. There were a lot of benefits that came along with just losing the weight. Especially when I was in the Navy, it became a lot easier to do things like, they make you run, they make you exercise, they make you do a lot of things that put a lot of pressure onto your joints. And yeah, going ahead and losing that weight kind of relieved a lot of that pressure, and I felt it. I didn't feel as inflamed as I was when I was, let's say, like a day of doing our morning PTs. I didn't feel as exhausted or beat down as I would, when I was doing the just eating regular, animal products or the standard American diet.
What were you eating in the Navy?
Before or after?
In the Navy when you were vegan?
Oh, okay.
In deployment? Peanut butter?
That too. I really dove into like things that I could, just pack with me and stay and keep with me, because we would have like MREs or meal ready meals, and they weren't vegan at all. They were just, very much like chili mac and, meat products, and it was super, processed. And I would have to do things like, make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches if it was, a day on the range, or I had to go to the gun range, or we had to go out for training. I would make my own like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I would have like some broccoli with me. I would, just find ways to just get some nutrition in. But those days were really tough to make sure that I got some, just got something in me that I could eat.
Broccoli, peanut butter and jelly?
That was it for like the range days. But when I was like, when I was deployed, we had access to our flats. We had flats to stay in, and we, had kitchens. So I was able to cook things. I would cook like rice, lentils, beans, just, assortment of vegetables and seitan, and I would make all these things. All these things were pretty much available due to the base that we were at. So yeah, I had things that I could cook while I was deployed.
Okay, cool. Well, it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. The worst things would be when we would have to go out on our missions and just being prepared for that. But that was more so when I would just bring just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and just things I can eat like avocados and.
What about like nuts and seeds?
I wish I'd have thought of that. But yeah, I would. I was just doing like peanut butter and jelly, avocados, and pretty like this was me learning how to still be vegan at that time. So I didn't have like all the great answers, and I didn't have any like examples to really like help me out. So I was just trying to figure it out at that time.
Do you have to eat a lot more when you're eating this way? Like volume wise? The same volume of food will have less calories, right?
Actually, I think I eat less because before I was just a garbage disposal with food. Like I was really just consuming. I was overeating. But now that I'm, vegan, like I do have the ability to, limit myself on like what I'm actually eating because I do want to be, healthier, which was the whole reason for me to become vegan. And I couldn't imagine eating, 3,000-4,000 calories worth of food, like that on like a vegan diet now. Like wouldn't want to do that.
How many calories do you think you eat?
Now I probably eat around 2,500.
Wow. That seems like a lot to me.
Well, yeah, I guess it could be. But again, like as an athlete,
Where do you get the bulk of those calories?
I'd say my breakfast is pretty hearty. Pretty much a big bowl of oatmeal, and I have blueberries, nuts, granola. It's packed with like just a bunch of different things that it's an amazing bowl of oatmeal that I have. But I also have a smoothie with it in the morning, and I have everything from spinach, kale, broccoli, bananas, dates. So I'm getting a huge portion of my calories in the morning.
You put broccoli in your smoothie?
Yeah.
You got the kale. It seems like that would be enough. But.
Some mornings they're different. I try to change it up every time. So some days it's kale, some days it's broccoli, some days.
Gotcha. What about like lunch or whatever?
I have a salad with my meal, but it's probably something rice-based, and it's probably either some lentils, some chickpeas. I'd like to mix it up a little bit. So.
And dinner, is that kind of the same like reiteration of those ingredients?
Yeah, my dinner is. I try to make it a little different. I'll probably have. It's so tough to pinpoint because like my dinner seems like it's always changing. I cook almost every day, but it will always be something like lentils or quinoa, rice, chickpeas, something like that, just in different forms. Either I'll do like a curry or I'll do a like a stew. I'll find me a recipe online, and I'll just make me whatever I'm feeling that day.
So, do you feel like you lost any muscle at all doing this?
Not doing this. Like any muscle that I have lost was most likely due to like an injury.
You get injured more frequently now?
No, like that's one of the wild parts about since I've become vegan, I haven't had many like gym injuries. Like the injuries that I've came from is like a broken wrist from like a motorcycle accident or something like that. So
now, do you think it's important for other people to go vegan?
Yeah, most definitely. One of the things that is very like near and dear to me is just what diet is doing to the African American community, and just how it's just it plagues our community. I've seen too many great Black leaders, parents, brothers and sisters that have lost their life, due to preventable, diseases and illnesses. So I do think that it will be advantageous for anyone to go ahead and go vegan, especially in our community that is just plagued with diabetes, high blood pressure, and just chronic illnesses that we've always felt like we were just a victim to. Like there was like no choice but to become our illness. Like, oh, well, my grandparents, my mom had this, so it's just always doomed for me to get this disease, and that's not necessarily true. But I do think that, it could help anyone that is in those situations.
I've heard that the African American community is the fastest growing race or segment.
Didn't hear that, but I'm definitely interested in that. Yeah, I would definitely love to see like what that looked like, or just being in like a community. I'd say back when I was first going vegan, I really didn't see many other African Americans that were doing it. Not saying that they weren't doing it, but I didn't see that many. We didn't have like that type of community. But now I see a lot of like African American or just Black owned vegan restaurants, and just they're doing it, and I'm just like they're doing it at a different level. The way that they're able to incorporate a lot of foods that we absolutely love into like just a vegan lifestyle, I'm just like, that's amazing. I love to see that. And it makes sense that, we are growing, because I mean, this isn't something we've always been wanting, trying to figure out like, okay, how can we get better? How can we have a better relationship with, our health? And I say some people are doing what needs to be done and going ahead and I guess like taking that vegan leap.
Yeah, I have a playlist, Black Vegans on my YouTube channel, because there's so many.
From the African Americans that I've talked to that are going, the vegan route, or that's wanting to become more vegan, they are definitely looking at it from a healthier standpoint. They want to beat their illness. They want to beat these generational curses that are a plague into like our communities, and that's more so like their approach to doing it.
What about like food deserts?
So that is another thing that is very near and dear to me too. Just fighting food insecurity, and so right now that's what we're with Peaceful Planet Foundation, and a lot of organizations that we are in, let's say like Third Ward in Houston. We are trying to combat that. We're trying to combat the food deserts and food insecurities that the city has just produced, or they're just not looking out for those communities. I would say one of the Black leaders that I was talking about before, who was just very much driven on fighting food insecurities. One of his goals was to give fresh produce, give fresh foods back to the people of Third Ward. Kirk Jackson, he wanted to, fight food insecurity by, eliminating food waste that these food pantries throw out at the end of the day, by having them circulate the food back into the community. So through people like, the EEDC, a lot of the churches in Third Ward, we are trying to combat that, and we're trying to fix, that issue now. That's not something that we can do alone. It's not something that is going to be fixed overnight, but it is something that, we're trying to do that piece, and I would love to, do more with that. And it's a tough conversation to have, because, these are people that are hungry, and it is very concerning that, their options are, what's just available. And a lot of times they do get, just things like, the throwaway foods that I'll say like supermarkets don't want. So there's like, meat that's about to go, away, or just like it's reading like its expiration date. And it's just like, okay, who can take this meat? Or just like bulks of like milk. And it's just like, who are we helping here? We're just feeding a lot of the problems, but also the big problem is these people are hungry. So it's this battle between what's more beneficial. Is it just getting these people food, or getting them the right food? But I would love to just be a part of the project that, get the people, the right food as well. Because it's not just getting them the right food, it's helping them learn how to prepare these foods, like what to do with these things. You give someone an eggplant and you just tell them, okay, here you go. A lot of times they're just gonna look at it like, what am I supposed to do with this? And a lot of times they're gonna do things like, slather it in butter or just slather in like oils, and they're just gonna make it unhealthy, which is just going to pretty much contribute to the problem of, their health issues. So, I mean, that's one thing that I personally, it's sad to see, these food insecurities and these food deserts, and like the issues are, what to do with the food. Give it to them, or try to, figure out a way to give them the healthier option. Like, it's a tough fight. It's a tough answer right there.
Yeah, yeah. What about, have you heard of food not bombs?
Food not bombs. It sounds familiar.
Right. I stumbled on it in Denver, Colorado. I saw this guy out there feeding the homeless, and I just kind of got a little curious. I got a little closer and closer, and sure enough, it was all vegan, man. He was feeding them vegan food. I mean, it was like soups and stuff. And then I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, it's called food not bombs. And then I found out later, I think it's all vegan. And then there's another thing, food not lawns. So essentially, turning your lawn that's just got all this grass and chemicals to keep the weeds out, instead of doing that, grow gardens and fruit trees and stuff. Couldn't that happen in these food deserts?
Yeah, and they have, and we have a lot of community gardens that are out there that are trying to just provide food for the people. But I'd say, like, how much can these people actually produce in these small lots is not going to be enough to, I guess, like, fix food insecurity. So we definitely need more, and they need more funding. They need volunteers. They need people going out and actually like helping out. Like, there are a lot of community gardens. I want to say here in Houston.
If everybody turned their front yard into a garden, that could feed the whole community.
True, but like that's like the area that they're living in. I'd say like they don't have like the grass or the field to actually like produce like a garden like that. Like that would be the issue.
Well, they have really small lots of land. It's like
If you see people living in like apartment complexes, these are the people that are having food issues or food, they're faced with, going hungry. A lot of people are living in, very much just very low poverty, areas. They can't afford to live in like a space that has, the land for it. So they have to live in these places that are stacked on top of each other or stacked really close to each other, where their front is just concrete or their backyard is, concrete.
Could you be with somebody who isn't vegan?
That's a tough question. Yeah, that's very tough because that is, with me just being as like health driven as I am, it would be kind of tough to see someone go, through this self-destructive path of, that comes with, eating meat or just eating the standard American diet. And I don't think I could see myself being happy with someone that, can go ahead and, continue to live that way. If they want to, do better, live better, and like live a healthier life and is okay with, making, transitions into that, I would more than welcome that. But being with someone that isn't vegan, I tried it before and I've done that before, and it was very complicated. And I would say it was just complicated to see them just go ahead and, just go through the health, issues that come along with, living that lifestyle.
So doesn't this kind of put you in a lonely situation then?
It does. It can be. I guess that's just dating. You gotta, I guess weigh out your options, figure out like, okay, what am I okay to, sacrifice? And no one's perfect, and yeah, it's a tough one. But there's a lot of good-looking vegans out there, so.
What about family? Is that hard? Are any of them kind of following your lead?
Like I do have, cousins and brothers and family. Like, I talk to them all the time about just like the benefits that can come with, just being vegan. But family is a little tough.
How do you deal with them during the holidays?
That was the tough part. I would go back to Baltimore. Some holidays I would just, pretty much just wouldn't eat. But, recently they have, become more accustomed to like my way of like living. They've definitely, transformed their habits to, providing more vegan options for me. And it was just solely for me. So that love that came from that, and them seeing just how easy it was, too. Like, I mean, my cousin Kayla, amazing, cook. She very much, does that. She does that thing in the kitchen. Like, she does really good, and she's shown me a lot of just like different ways that you can make like vegan food just very much tasty. During the holiday times, it was rough, but they have definitely came through in recent years, and started just looking out for me. So I'm grateful for that.
You got any quotes you'd like to share?
Health is wealth.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So much that comes with just being healthy. You save a lot of money on like medical bills. Not only that, but you can't put a price on your health. So I definitely think that health is wealth.
The food specifically. Do you find it being affordable?
Yeah, I do. But it took a while to get to that point, where it's just like, okay, I can understand how to become vegan on a budget. When I first went vegan, or a lot of times when people go vegan, they very much are just driven by, okay, I want the meat alternatives of the things that I'm giving up. Back when I first started, I didn't have all the, I would say the Impossibles and the Beyond Meats, and like that stuff wasn't a thing yet. But we had Gardein, and that was, expensive. We had meatless crumbles, and those things were expensive. But the transition from being vegan into whole food plant-based was the part that made it a lot more, affordable. So that part is not expensive. Being vegan was expensive. Doing all the processed stuff and, the vegan products, yes, those stuff were expensive.
That's a cool way to distinguish the difference there. I mean, yeah, the whole plant foods are a lot more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like dry beans.
Yeah, those things are super cheap.
Yeah, and instead of the broccoli you're talking about, you could broccoli sprouts are cheaper. I don't know if you've tried that yet.
They're on my radar.
It's like next level stuff.
Yeah.
Think you'll ever go raw?
I don't. I mean, I'm sure I'll try it for a while. That's going to be one of the things that I do try, because I love trying like different approaches of like just being vegan. But staying raw, I don't think I'd do that. I love the whole food plant-based side of it, and that's one of the things like I do want to distinguish. Like, I would consider myself more whole food plant-based than I am vegan. I would say that
just in respect of the food.
Yeah, just in respect of the food.
Yeah.
So like I'd say like 90% of my foods would be, whole food plant-based, nothing processed, none of like the vegan items. And then I would say in 10% of it, I would like indulge. So like one meal out of the week would probably be, it would have something like vegan in it, or just have like a vegan tag to it. So
there's a really good vegan ice cream across the street. What's your dreams? What's your goals? What's next?
Yeah, I got my bachelor's in exercise science and a minor in nutrition. Next, I would like to get more into just, therapy. I would like to get my LPC, become a licensed professional counselor, and just see like what else I can do to just, help people in that way. I feel like I have a bigger connection to people on like a more therapeutic level, so I want to just see what that looks like. During my time, working at the clinic that I'm at, seeing patients, helping patients and just being there for them like that, that's when I kind of realized that, this is something that I want to do long term. I would talk to a lot of patients about and just connect with them on a lot of different sides of, just what traumas or what issues that they have going on, and just being there for them and just, listening to what they got going on. It's like, I want to do this, full time, because, seeing someone come in and let's say they had a wife passed away, or they said their husband died, or, they come in and they're going through something very much, traumatizing to them. And then being able to not only just listen to them and just help them out as far as like, I can provide you resources on, yoga, meditations, or just mindfulness tips and everything to do. Those are the types of things that I want to, be able to do, full time. But I mean, I really wanted to, go the physician assistant route before, but my time being in the clinic, that's why I love, internships. It allows you to see, what works and what doesn't. And, just seeing that kind of, worked for me. Definitely a correlation with, those just like healthier eating habits and just people's mental health. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to, learn more about and just get more involved in, so I can, not only just tell people, to eat right, I can give them just some therapy along with it as well. I can do all those things. That's kind of what lifestyle medicine does. It kind of takes a piece of all the aspects of what it means to be healthy, and it kind of expands on it and trying to incorporate that into, its practice. So that's one thing that I do want to, eventually get into once I, get my LPC and become an LPC. I would love to, just get certified in lifestyle medicine as well.
Why do you think people fail?
Oh, I think the social aspect of it. A lot of failures happen when people, they get with unlike-minded people, and then they start, going back to those old habits. It's just like, I walked into my grandma's place, or I walked into my mom's place, and, she's making like all the food that I loved when I was growing up, and it's just like, how can I say no to that? Or, they get invited somewhere that doesn't have like vegan options, and then they're just like, well, what else am I going to do? And the next thing you know, they end up falling back down that rabbit hole of just, going back to their old ways. But I do think a lot of people have the good intentions of keeping up with it, but it is very tough. One thing that I do is like on the weekends, or sometimes on the weekdays, through Peaceful Planet Foundation, we do tabling. Well, we're part of like any place that I do like tabling events, and I talk to people about health and wellness, a whole food plant-based diet, and just hoping they take away something about okay, can I become vegan, or what can I do to become healthier? And a lot of people, they talk about their journey with becoming vegan. It's like, oh no, I've tried it for 2 weeks, and then I just went back into it, or I tried it for 30 days and it was great, and I went back to it. And I always ask them, like, how did you feel once when you did it? And they're like, oh no, I felt amazing. And it's like, well, how did you feel when you started going back? And it's like, well, I started feeling like crap again. You were doing something amazing, and you felt amazing while you were doing it. Just imagine how amazing you'll feel once you continue with it, or you go back into it, or you get someone else to do it along with you. It'll make it a lot easier for you to just, keep this, going, make it a lifestyle thing, because they are very much interested in it. They want to do it, and to them, they don't know why they keep going back to it. I just like, you just gotta fight through it. It's real easy to just fall through and just go back to those old habits. I think it's one of those things that, you go through, and I'm sure like a lot of people that went vegan, they, had that relapse where it's just like, okay, well, I'm gonna sneak a little piece of, chicken, I'm gonna sneak a little piece of like, cheese, and then they see what happens to their body, and then they're like, oh yeah, this ain't it. This is not it. And I mean, that's happened to me. Like when I think like my first month of just doing it clean, I was like, okay, let me just have a little small piece of chicken. And I immediately just wanted to throw up. So I was just like, yeah, this is just not, I don't know what happened, but this is not it.
And some people say, oh, you guys cheat, you're all liars. And I'm like, to me, it's as disgusting. Now, I haven't eaten any animal body parts, organs, or secretions in over a decade. It'd be like eating a human to me almost.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
Like who wants to do that?
It is like borderline. Not
Or
borderline.
dog,
It is gross. When you look at it and you're just like, oh, this is flesh. This was life. Now this is just, rotting and decaying flesh at this point. I can't stomach it. Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything that's really helped you connect the dots here? Books, documentaries you want to share, websites?
When I first went vegan, I didn't have anything. I was just really just shooting from the hip. Dr. Greger is probably the resource for me. Just like getting more knowledge on why is this stuff so important, or how am I actually benefiting myself, or how I can give this information to someone else, like, it was a great resource for me. Yeah, nutritionfacts.org. Other than him, now I would say my resources are, Drs. Bandana and Dr. Manish Chawla. Those two are my mentors. I love everything that they're doing as far as just their whole practice, their clinic, them incorporating lifestyle medicine into their practice. Their main approach is to take this holistic approach and like tell people to go ahead and look at what you're eating. They always want to give people that that knowledge, and they do a great job of that. But she also does practice internal medicine as well, because it's not easy to go ahead and just turn vegan at a blink of an eye. And a lot of people, they are stuck in their old ways. So Dr. Bandana Chawla, she does provide a lot of just knowledge and love and support to all her patients, and just being able to see that up close and personal. Yeah, that has just given me the love, or a big love for just wanting to give more knowledge and just spread the message out to a lot of people.
What's the website? Peaceful Planet Foundation?
PeacefulPlanetFoundation.org.
Okay. How often do you supplement?
I don't. The only supplements that I take is like a B12 vitamin, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about protein powders?
No, don't do that either. At one point, I thought I needed it, and I was taking like a pea protein, just a powder, but for the most part, no. I haven't done it in a while.
When was the last time?
3-4 years ago.
Ah, wow. And do you notice any difference?
No, not at all. I really think I was just taking in too much protein at that point in time. So I haven't had any need, or my body recovers. If I want to build muscle, I can do that. If I want to, lose weight, I can do that. Really just depend on your work ethic and like what are you doing in the gym. Not really, there's a, nutrition side of it, of course, but I think sets and reps determine, what you do or what are you able to, put on as far as like muscle.
What do you think about these people on the carnivore diet?
I feel for them. I used to be like that myself. I mean, I used to think like that's exactly like what we need to, build muscle, put on muscle, and just to maintain. But no, like that's not something that, we absolutely need to do to, I guess, like be strong. And honestly, I never really wanted to like build muscle. I just really was just working out to be strong. Like muscle just kind of came along with it was like a side effect of like, becoming strong. So.
Do you have muscles?
I got a little.
How important is being buff?
And I never intentionally was like, okay, let me try to, pack on muscle. I just wanted to, get 10 pounds stronger, put 10 pounds on my max, put 20 pounds on my max. Like I wanted to just be strong. And that was just my side of it. But ever since, I've gotten the injury that kind of like, took my wrist out of the equation, so I can't put that much weight onto my wrist, I haven't had this need or want to go ahead and try to, be this big, bulky, bodybuilder. That's just not something that's for me. I can see and I respect the whole world of bodybuilding. Like that is an amazing, dedication. And I love going to the shows and love seeing people do that. But for average, people like, I think I'm pretty average, but people that are just going through day to day, I just want to be healthy. I mean, I was one of those people that hated cardio, but now I'm running miles every morning. That's more so my thing. It's not that I'm trying to do marathons, but it's something that I'm able to do now, that I'm very thankful for, just the, my injury allowing me to do that, because I'm allowed to go ahead and just, do things like, do a half marathon if I wanted to. I can do these, things that I've never would have done before, being just extremely bulky like that, so.
Some of these meat-based doctors, they're like showing off their physique, and I guess that helps them convince others that eating animals is important somehow.
I see what they're doing as far as just trying to sell themselves, and but that's
Yeah.
there's so many other ways that you can go about, doing that.
Yeah. And in my mind, it seems like, and I think this is basically what you said, it's just a matter of getting those reps in, right?
Yeah. And again, it's like what serves you. I mean, if having big muscles, if that's something that you want to do, or just having a physique, if that's something that you really want to do, and I mean, there's a lot that comes along with that. I mean, there's a huge confidence factor. I mean, I've been training people for I wouldn't say more than a decade. Ever since I was in high school, I've always been pretty strong. I've always been pretty much, built, and I've always had, a lot of people that followed, me because they wanted to know, like, okay, how did I get to this point? How did I, get strong? How did I get, this built? And they wanted to just emulate everything I was doing. So that's when I would take people that had, to them, they were small. And then I just pretty much just put them through my workout regimen, put them through everything that I was doing. And then over the years and over the months that we've trained together, and these are people that I was in high school with, I was people I was in the Navy with, even people that, post-Navy that I was with, they have developed a lot of confidence that came along from not only just, getting some muscle, but okay, I can go to the gym and actually know what I'm doing. I have this confidence to, just I can put myself through my own workout. They don't need me anymore. That's the kind of what I gave to them. So
Some people, they feel like they get too skinny on this diet. They feel like they get too skinny. And honestly, I don't see what's wrong with that either, right?
I don't. I think we have a horrible relationship with, just food and sometimes weight too. We don't see an issue with being a few pounds over, but there's a lot of health risk that comes with just having, even just being a couple rounds overweight. Like, there's a lot of health risk that comes with that. So I don't think it's anything wrong with, being slim or skinny. I've never been that in my entire life, but no, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I've literally heard people in the comment section, like recently when one lady said that her husband couldn't do it because he was getting too skinny. And it was like, well, maybe that's the way he was designed to be.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what else is he going to do with the muscle? What else is he going to do with being big? Working out or fitness, there's a lot of, benefits to, just doing that, as far as just, everything from, your cholesterol and, just keeping your heart health, great. Like, there's a lot of health benefits to just, just regular, just exercise and just working out. As far as like being big, or just being like extremely, say like bulky, I guess that's what you want, then that's what you want. Like, I can't see anything being, any advantages that come from, being like that. I mean, nothing that I've seen, unless you're like an athlete or you're going into competitions. That's the only way I can see being that, huge, can be advantageous. I mean, I've had people that, since I've been, just more so just working out on, just being healthier, like not so much, competing. I've had people that, whenever I do post randomly, they're like, oh, you're getting small. And it's just like, okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting smaller. I take it as a compliment, honestly. Like, it's nothing, like I have no use for, being that big anymore. Like, if anything, I welcome it. I'm, running miles, I'm doing cardio, I'm doing things that are more fulfilling for me in that way. And if being big or just being bulky is fulfilling for other people, then wish them well.
Where in the world are you getting smaller at?
I'm probably 40 pounds lighter than what I was when I first went vegan. And those 15 pounds that dropped, they just dropped naturally. Like, I didn't do anything for that. But then when I started going into competitions, when I started doing like powerlifting, I wanted to compete at the 205 weight class. So I had to drop, weight to get to that point. and then my body kind of just settled out. So I purposely wanted to lose that weight to get to that, 205 weight range. But then after, that, my body was kind of like settling in that 205, 210 range. I was like, well, I want to see what, 185 or 180 would look like on me. So I'm dropping weight to get down to that point. And I mean, I'm still pretty sizable. I'm still pretty decently sized. So.
Do you have any like social media or anything? Anybody wants to check you out? Like, is there a way they can connect with you?
So I'm hit or miss with social media, but yeah, Power Plant Poppy is like my
Tag?
Yeah.
You have a YouTube?
No, not a YouTube. Not
Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, Power Plant Poppy.
Poppy.
Yeah.
What's poppy? Poppy seeds?
No, just Poppy.
Like opium?
PAPI.
You got a kid or something?
No, it just kind of just fit with Plant Father, just like another spin on that.
You said Power Plant Poppy.
Power Plant Poppy. Years ago, I was looking up like what other, I was looking up Power Plant, and I was like, I've seen a lot of like vegan affiliations to it too. So I was like, nah, I just really like that. I was a power lifter, plant-based, and kind of like a plant daddy. So
Plant daddy.